This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness. And let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shouting loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Mic check. Mic check. That's how you open the show.
Mic check.
Is this thing on?
But you got to ask that question when you go in the black community. Is this thing on? Is it on? Are you all awake? Like literally, a 2x4 is going upside your head every single day. Wake up, man. Good morning, Vincent.
Good morning. I think you're up to 2 cups of coffee already.
Listen, I had more than 2 cups, man. I had a rough night last night, though. Rough morning this morning, but I was able to pull it together. I'm happy to be here.
At the risk of sounding misogynistic and sexist, never mind. I'm not going to do that.
What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say, Vincent? You decided not to step.
Now week with that.
You're not stepping in it this morning.
No.
I had just, and I don't know if it'll ever be resolved. I get an opportunity to talk to other folks who have had complete gastrectomy. And for you guys who don't know what a gastrectomy is, it's the removal. Well, a gastrectomy can be a partial removal of your stomach. I had a complete one, which means a complete removal of my stomach, right? And so with that comes, the unknown. I mean, they have some ideas, but every human being, like every snowflake, is different. And so you respond differently to it. And, even though there's a hope that things, work smoothly, sometimes they don't. And with me, just my digestive tract, man, is just off. And some days it's worse than others, it's just challenging, right? Digesting food and just dealing with that whole process. So yesterday was one of those days, and it went into the wee hours of the morning. So like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, man, I was still up. Me and Malcolm. Malcolm X. And
Malcolm X.
yeah.
Malcolm X the cat. So he said, by any means necessary.
I'm gonna take care of you, Eric. And, so he was up taking care of me. Mina had to get a good night's sleep because she'll be at the farmer's market today. And then I woke up because of the lack of sleep and all that kind of stuff. I woke up with some anxiety, so it just kind of rolls over, right? One thing rolls over into the next sometimes. Yeah. And so I was dealing with that this morning, but was able to push through it with a little help with a little help from some CBD oil.
There you go.
Yeah, man, so I got the things that I need. I got my little tool belt. And so I'm here, man. Listening to some of the news, some of the goings on. So, we've got another great debate coming up on Thursday, right? COVID-19 is running rampant. Want to talk a little bit about that. Want to talk about Fetty Wap. His brother being murdered. Want to talk about Cube. There are people who are posting, in support of Cube, and they're getting beat down, man. I didn't go into any of these posts because I just didn't want to give these people, any additional whatever, but there are a lot of folks out there who, they're headline surfers, right? They're not deep or steeped in politics, and they're weighing in because he's a celebrity, right? And he's part of that celebrity class. And so folks feel like if Cube weighed in, I could weigh in, but you have less acumen than he does to weigh in, right? So you need to sit down. And I think in some of those threads, people were telling you to sit down. And then I saw folks get caught up in their feelings, man, and start calling names and cussing at folks because they were challenging their acumen, their ability to assess politics and what was going on. So that was all pretty interesting. And then the other thing that I want to talk about is this idea as we look at the rise of COVID-19, the rise of folks who are infected, that we pay attention to the number of deaths, the percentage, right, that people are talking about. And then a statement that came out from Donald Trump where he said, if we had followed the science, just purely followed the science, this country would be in a depression. Like, and I don't think he meant like the Great Depression. I think he means that not only financially, economically, but also emotionally and spiritually, that the spirit of America would be broken. And so I want to have some conversation about that and, the perspective on it. So anyway, that's my lineup at least. And whatever else you want to talk about. Mr. Squire, are you there? Mic
Oh,
check.
yes, I am here.
I said mic check again. Guess what?
No, because you know that, I get that little voice in my ear going, mute your mic, mute your mic, mute your mic.
Okay. So, look, Fetty Wap said, is going through it right now, right? I mean, loss of anybody is whatever, and the whole street thing, man, is just violent, and Fetty Wap, he, a statement that he put out and stuff that he's put on his social media page is apologizing to his little brother, saying that he failed him, that you know, uh, he doesn't feel like doing any music anymore. That I'm paraphrasing this part. Uh, I guess his understanding of the streets, or his involvement, his obsession with, um, I guess he just didn't think that it would touch his
Him.
brother and him, right, his family. Um, but apologies coming afterwards are too late, right? You know what I mean? You know,
But, yeah, the whole thing is the apologies coming after are very much late. And, and so the things that you've always wanted to say comes late after a person is dead. So, yeah, you're always supposed to get your feelings out now. But you also have to look at Fetty Wap as now operating from a space of grief.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But
yeah.
here's the thing that I always question, right? It's just like somebody who gets caught robbing a bank or gets caught doing something else, and then they say, "I'm sorry." Are they sorry that they did it, or sorry they got caught? Right? And we always wrestle with that, right? So, because if you didn't get caught, you'd still be doing it, and you wouldn't be offering any remorse or any apology. You'd be counting the money from the bank you stole it from, right? So when you have this, and you said he's operating from a point of grief, you know, you know, is he sorry only in that it culminated in this tragedy, right? Um, and had it not, um, he'd continue to perpetuate the same stuff, right? So that's always the thing, and so if it takes everybody who's involved, that moment of it happening to them before they actually turn a corner, right? If that really is a corner that they're turning, um, you know, we're just gonna have a lot more, rest in peace shirt companies making rest in peace shirts and sidewalk memorials and late apologies and tears and all that kind of stuff, right?
Well, my addiction counseling head is kicking in. One of the actual things in terms of growth takes a level of acknowledgement of the wrong. And a lot of people during the course of acts and actions, during the course of it, you rationalize, emotionalize, and to believe that what you're doing is right, or to believe that what you're doing, that you are man enough to handle the consequences. Now, is he sorry because he did it? Well, 9 times out of 10, people are sorry that they did it, but there's a lot more grief involved with the repercussions, which leads to the admittance that they did it.
Mm-hmm.
So that part kicks in. Also, my prayers are for him and his family.
Sure.
This isn't the time. There is no good time to lose family members, close family members, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, mothers, fathers. There's no good time for them to be taken out of your life, because when people leave your life, there's a huge void that it takes people years sometimes to find a way to fill and to deal with.
Right.
But what also you have to look at is he's in that culture of urban violence.
Yeah.
His music, it's all about that.
Right.
But people stop to realize that, at some point people aren't really living that. They're just singing or performing that. Because you don't want to be in a situation to put your family and friends at harm, especially when you're making money.
Right.
So there are a lot of issues going on.
But then there's a
with that.
fine line, right? When you because you sell your music based on some level, or there should be some level of authenticity, right, to what the person is doing. And so as you're putting this music out, the audience that's following you, they're following you because they believe that you're living the life that you're
performing and personifying.
That's absolutely right, right? So even if you don't,
does that make him responsible
for what?
For what happened, the incidents?
Well, I think that there is some culpability, right? I mean, if you are fanning the flame, look, if you're fanning the flames and then the fire spreads, then you've got to be responsible. You have some culpability for fanning the flames, right? So you're not extinguishing the fire. You're not trying to contain it. You're not trying to, you're literally fanning. Every time he goes out and performs, and every time he puts out a new song, he's fanning the flames. Right? So now when one of those flames jumps up, right? And you know how it is, right? And it jumps up, and that's right, and it catches on to something else. You there's some culpability. Look, the person who's driving down, we look at these big forest fires in California, these big, huge fires in California, right? Sometimes they start because somebody took a cigarette, right, and flicked it, right? Mm-hmm. And then they drive off. And the next thing you know, we hear that thousands of acres are burning, right? And you trace it all the way back. It's the person who flicked the one butt that didn't completely go out before they flicked it. And so when we look at all of this violence, we have to ask, who's flicking these butts and keeping these fires burning?
Okay, so all they did was do that little small measure of flicking the butts. Then something without their power or acknowledgement, or as now they call it an act of nature, the winds happen to blow. And then hundreds of thousands of acres are lost, lives are lost, property are lost, dreams are destroyed because of this one person. Mm-hmm. Careless act.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So this is a perfect segue into, I think anyway, into Ice Cube, right? So, but before we start talking about his plan, or the plan that he introduced, Ice Cube flicked a lot of butts, right? NWA did. A lot of them. A lot of them.
The police.
No. Not just at the police, but just in general.
No, I'm just saying one. One of them was at the police.
No, yeah, but I'm just talking about like the whole picture. the whole picture of misogyny, the whole picture of glorification of violence, the whole picture of glorification of gangs, the whole picture of glorification, all of that stuff, all of it, like butts with flicking from NWA. Now, and this started happening in a time where rap music was conscious, right? It was the messaging was conscious. You had KRS-One, you had others out there who were promoting.
NWA, you had
No, you said
Public
NWA.
Enemy.
Yeah, you had
Yeah.
public, right? So you had all of them who were pushing conscious messages, right? And in the middle of that, and then there's an argument to be had whether or not NWA was used, whether folks, but they did it. They did it, right? And when they started pumping this into the communities, and young people started drinking it by the gallon load, right? It changed. Things changed, right? This fire started, right? It sparked and it started and it was out there. And so we can still see the aftermath. We can still see embers burning, right? Simmering in our community as a result of those butts that NWA and in particular Ice Cube flicked out there into the community. And I don't know that I've ever heard him acknowledge that. So when you talked earlier about, acknowledging wrongdoing, acknowledging stuff that you've done, I don't know that he's ever taken account of that, nor the people who are on social media now supporting him, whether they have a full understanding of his culpability in what we see now in our community. And now, look, you can argue, and I'll accept some of it, Vincent, that parents have a responsibility for what their children listen to. Parents have a responsibility. The community has a responsibility. Oh yeah, right. But if we're going to now say that Ice Cube is responsible, right? He's a responsible person because he now presented this plan, we have to then say that he was an irresponsible person in presenting that garbage, right? You can't cherry pick and say, okay, he's putting out this kind of content now in 2020, right? I.e. this plan. And we say, oh, yay, Ice Cube. Right. But when he was putting out that garbage back then, we go, oh, it really wasn't Ice Cube. That was the community didn't know it. The parents didn't know it. This, that, and the other didn't. See, we gotta treat him even handedly when it comes to this stuff. So I look.
Well, I'm looking at the contrast and what he's putting out then. When he was an angry 20-year-old and raging against the systematic oppression and racism, versus now where he is a conscious 50-year-old. The same energy in terms of fight the power and rage against the system, but now he's taking it in a different manner and saying that, okay, let's look at who is the best candidate. I have a plan. Let's see who adopts it.
Right. I don't. No. You're missing what I'm saying. Look. All I'm saying is this: when you come, for me at least, right? And people have different standards, and I get that, right? But for me, we have to have this. We have to have this conversation first. He has to have it with me. Right? I get that he doesn't know who the hell Eric Dawson is, but
more than likely, I think that would probably be on his mind.
Right.
Yeah.
But he has to have the conversation with me before I'm willing to sit down and talk to him about something else that he wants to do. Right? I have to be able to sit down and say, but okay, before we do this thing, right? If we're looking and saying, wow, he's got a platform, because that's all the conversation that's out there. Well, he's got this platform. He said, yeah, he does. But that platform, for me, should be used to talk about, the ill effects of the music and imagery and, you know, calling black women bitches and hoes and all that other kind of stuff that he took big part in, right? Led the charge in fact, right? So we could talk about the railing against the system, fuck the police, and pardon my language, guys, but that was the name of the song, right? So we could have that but then there were other songs out there, right? That had nothing to do with railing against the system. It had to do with degradation of women, right? It had to do with the promotion of drugs and a rape culture and a, you know, in a gang culture, right? So I don't want to just talk about, because I saw somebody post, 30 years of activism by Ice Cube. See, we can't be revisionists when it comes to history, and we have to hold people accountable,
well,
right?
It's not the simple fact of that, but this is what I'm saying. Do we hold him accountable for the man he was, or do we hold him accountable for the man that he is?
Well, I think we do both, right? I think we can do both. I think that he can use his platform to simply stand up and say, I was wrong. That was horrible. I was wrong. I should not have done that. I shouldn't have called women, especially black women, bitches and hoes. He can do that.
He could.
Yeah, right. And he should. And he should. And then, yes. And then do that. And then talk about these other things. But to lead people, because I'm watching the threads. And folks are talking about this guy who did 30 years of activism. Right? And I'm like, wait a minute. How many years of misogyny? How many years of degradation? How many years of promoting violence? How many years of, do we just sweep that under the rug?
No, we don't just sweep that under the rug, but we take a mature approach and say that.
So you're saying I'm being immature?
No, please let me. We take a mature approach and say that everyone has the right to change.
No, I'm not saying that he doesn't. You're missing my point. The same way that I would want, whether it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump or anybody else that has done things that have damaged the community, to come before the altar of foundational Black Americans and own the shit that they've done. Right? What do they say? They say the first thing that you do as an alcoholic in terms of turning your life around is what? Admittance.
Admit.
That's right. First thing you do is you stand up and say, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. I am an alcoholic. And now from there, you can grow.
Joe Biden did.
No, I'm not making this about Joe Biden. I'm not making this about Joe Biden. No, Vincent. I'm not making it. No. I'm not making this about Joe Biden.
Okay.
Right? And no, he didn't. So don't peddle that. But what I'm saying is this. But what I'm saying is this. I am saying that Ice Cube did not do that. He did not do that. And so now to be revisionists in history and talk about his 30 years of activism without talking about the damage that he did to this community that is still smoldering, I think is irresponsible for those people who know history. Diane, welcome. Thanks for calling in. What's up, sis?
Yeah, whatever. You baited me. So this is what I have to say. All I have to say is this. I can give a crap about Ice Cube apologizing, not apologizing, what he did, what he didn't do. You have spent more time talking about Ice Cube instead of talking about a plan. Instead of talking about what he's talking about.
No, I always talk about a plan.
Maximum sophisticated confusion.
No, I always talk about a plan.
He's talking about a black plan. You have not mentioned one thing out of the plan. Could it be possible? Is it irrational? Does it make sense? Instead, you spend all this time talking about him.
Right. Because but here's the deal, right? Everything, I'd say 95%, if not more, of what he's talking about already exists in various forms. Right? It's already out there. What?
But nobody's talking about it.
No, but you know what, Diane? But Diane, here's the deal.
Talking about reparations.
But Diane, but here is the deal. But here's the con game, right? So it's already out there. So what you do is repackage it. You put a black man in front of it, and then you get black people going like D.L. Hughley said, "Oh, look at the shiny object." And I'm going, God damn it.
Well,
It's
you are
been
looking at the shiny object because you're not talking about the
No,
plan.
I'm saying cancel
Or a
him.
plan.
No, I don't want to talk. I'm saying that we should
Eric, let her.
I'm saying we should
Eric,
cancel
stop.
him.
Eric, you're not talking about the plan. You're talking about him.
Yes.
You haven't once gone into the plan and pulled anything out and said, okay, this makes sense. Of course he didn't invent it. It's been invented 15 times over.
Right.
Several people have talked about it. Several people have put it out there. He just happened to have a platform and he spoke about it again. But nobody else is talking about the plan.
Right. So here
Everybody is
so I'm
saying,
gonna spend 30 seconds talking about the plan. Ready? Here we go. Here we go. And I believe that what Dr. Claude Anderson says is true. If you don't have an economic base, you can't get shit done politically. And so all of the stuff that Ice Cube talked about, that he regurgitated, that already exists, right? Until we have an economic base, we're not going to be able to get anything done. So it's all maximum sophisticated confusion.
Ice Cube does have an economic base, but here is
What economic base?
Eric, Ice Cube's got millions. He's got an economic base.
Oh,
Here
God.
is the thing, Eric, that I like to say: are you mad about the message, or are you mad about the messenger?
Well, so I'll answer that question right after I take this call. Call, go.
So here's what's so disturbing about this. Friday on the show, Diane and I talking, when Vincent mentioned Megan Thee Stallion, or we mentioned Cardi B, both Diane and I agree, they ain't no spokesperson for me. But that's how good we do women, even us women. But we talking about Ice Cube. Is Ice Cube a messenger for me? Ice Cube is no different than Megan Thee Stallion. He's, other than the fact that he's the third-legged beast, right? Other than the fact that he's a man, he's no different. He's never messaged for us. He's not a leader of our community. So what's the difference in we feel like it's okay because he's a man, accept his words, accept his messaging. But if it's from a woman, even us women, Diane, are willing to say, oh, that don't represent.
No, that's not true. It has nothing to do. My
represent
opinion of him has nothing to do with him being a man. It is strictly based on the plan. Megan Thee Stallion didn't come out with no damn plan, and neither did Cardi B. Girl, bye.
But
They did
no,
come out.
I'm talking, Vincent. I don't need you to interrupt. They didn't come out with a plan and say, oh, we need to do these things for Black America. They didn't say that. They didn't even have a conversation about
the
that.
only reason why Vincent mentioned Megan was because she allegedly wrote some op-ed, which both you and I was like, she didn't write that. We wouldn't even give that sister
Well, she didn't write
the
that.
benefit.
She
that
didn't. Her
write
PR
that, right?
people did
That's
write
what
that.
we went on. We went on her path.
But I also said that Ice Cube didn't write it either. I said he worked for Thomas. I never said he wrote
Why
it.
are we defending it? What are we talking about?
I'm trying to move the conversation away from him and talk about the plan and what needs to be done. I could give
But
two
I-
shits on who said it.
Why would
But
you
y'all
but-
talking about him.
on a plan that you don't even know who the author of the plan is? Why would we be jumping on a plan that we don't even know who the author is? Because that's the point, right? Shit, Donald Trump could have wrote the plan. Shit, Joe Biden could have wrote the plan. We
Well,
don't
Joe
even
Biden-
know the plan. Now we're backing him out of the issue, right? Now we're saying, oh, he didn't even write the plan. Which, by the way, I guess Eric's going to get into the plan, which is a shell of a plan anyway. Any plan that doesn't talk about education, and I'm a parent, ain't shit in my world, right? It is amazing to me. It is amazing because sometimes I don't even think we realize that it's happening. That difference between how we treat women and how we treat men in this country, how we as Black people treat Black women as opposed to Black men in this country. If we just go on just that scenario of what we were talking about, he just ain't a leader, right? He doesn't represent me. He doesn't represent my interests. He doesn't even know my problem. He ain't coming sitting at this desk I'm sitting at right now in an office making money to feed a family. His children don't go to schools in inner cities. He don't even know what my issues are. He don't even know, Diane, what your issues are. He's a man, right, who's, Vincent is absolutely right. He's another millionaire telling black folk what they need. He has not the wherewithal, as Eric would say, he doesn't have the acumen. All of a sudden, he's popped up, and he's the speaker. Moreover, right, I am beginning to wonder why everyone that anyone is listening to from our community is a freaking entertainer. Yes, we need to move on, right? We need to act like that moment didn't even exist, and we need to leave it where it is, because the conversation about someone putting together something that 9 times out of 10 after November 3rd, you ain't even going to see again. You won't even hear again. Why are we having this discussion? To me, it's gotten silly. And as a woman, I am offended that I'm actually on social media. People are telling me that I am beating up on black men for a party. Listen, that's ridiculousness. If I can talk about Cardi B, then I can talk about Ice Cube. If I could talk about Megan Thee Stallion, and I could talk about Puffy and his new video crew. It's just not. It is not pushing us forward, and it is making. It is for me to have to excuse that black women have voted more, done more in our communities than black men, have stood on the front lines, been maligned by our own men in our own communities for trying to be involved, for trying to run for office, for trying to be in a space that in large part we are the only ones truly engaged. It's offensive. I think that should be the conversation, not Ice Cube. Just my 2 cents.
So, again, Diane, what was the plan that Ice Cube had?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. So Vincent. So let's go. You want to go through the plan?
Well, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, a lot of people are more upset with the messenger or in support of the messenger, and a lot of people are not looking at the messaging, what's being said. And we always say that, a broken watch is accurate twice a day. Yet, let's look at the accuracy in his plan. I mean, Jody states that no, he doesn't, he has not reached out to me, spoke to me, or talked to me, but he has a plan for me. So let's see, what is the plan? Let's dive into the platinum plan. See, the big problem that I see with Ice Cube was the simple fact that he went to Donald Trump. Donald Trump offered him $100 and something million for his plan after he gets elected. Not now for the plan, but after he gets elected. Biden looked at his plan and said to him, this is in my plan. A lot of it that you have is in my plan, and we should and we can talk about this, at a later date. Then Biden didn't speak to anybody about talking to Ice Cube. Donald Trump exploited Ice Cube. So let's look at the plan that sits in this level of controversy that has so many people blowing up on social media.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the different areas in here, right? So there's a whole introduction piece. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but contract with Black America, right? So that's the plan, right? And then you have the Platinum Plan, which is on Donald Trump's page, President Trump's pillars, right, of the Platinum Plan.
Which is, to me, a slap in the face of Black America.
Why?
Oh, because it's about the platinum grill that, on his teeth. It's the platinum jewelry that, they are wearing. It's not.
Well, no, Vincent. See, Vincent. You know what, Vincent? Stop. Because if Biden had called his plan a platinum plan, right, you'd have a whole different narrative, right? One that comes from CNN and CNBC and Rachel Maddow and Chris Hayes and the rest of those guys, right? And it would be about the excellence, right? So just stop. Like, seriously.
Biden does have the platinum plan.
How much is Biden? Like, literally, if I didn't know you, and I'm saying this but I know you're not getting paid. But if I didn't know you, I literally would think that the Biden campaign is paying you. Like, you can't wait. Even when I was talking about Ice Cube, you couldn't wait to interject Biden. Like, literally, I'm having absolutely. And I said to you, I said to you, Vincent, we're not talking about Biden. We're talking about Ice Cube. You said, oh, okay. Like, literally, you couldn't wait to, like, begin to promote Biden. You know what I mean? It's got to be better than that.
It's not my intention to promote Biden. It's my intention to promote the plan.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
It's my intention to move the needle. It's my intention to say that whoever it is that's running for whatever they are running for, let's see what they want to do to increase the quality of life for Black America.
Right.
That's my intention.
Right. So in the plan, and so Jody Pittman, said that there's nothing about education, right? So here are the different things. There's one is reparations. The other one, this is in the contract with Black America, right? Reparations, lending reform, federal funding, Federal Reserve, finance oversight, data and credit, prison reform, judicial reform, police reform, FCC licensing, Confederate institutions, AIP program, and Black responsibility. That's the outline.
Okay.
Right? So you're defending this. So where do you want to start?
No.
Oh, yeah. Because I'm saying...
No. I am not defending Ice Cube's plan. Nor will you tag that on me. I simply said, let's hear it.
Well, did you hear it?
Okay. No, because I didn't look into the plan at all. I stayed away from the Ice Cube thing because of the simple fact of this. All right? When?
How do you have an opinion about something if you've never looked into it or read it or researched it?
Well, maybe if I can get it out and why I have an opinion about it, then you will know.
So under the bank lending reform part, it says bank lending will be regulated to require banks to lend a percentage of all loan and credit categories on an equal basis to Black populations each bank serves. However, the minimum threshold must yearly meet the percentage equal to the national Black population, currently approximately 13.4%. Rates on Black loans federally and from banks to be same average rate as whites. Right, and then there's a piece that he talks about in this plan about baby bonds, right? I think some of this is Senator Booker's stuff, right? And he actually says, as proposed by Senator Booker, passed federal program providing every child with a government funded trust. So, look. So, I said this at the outset, and so you should read it, Vincent, because I mean, I'm not going to go through reading it all, but what I said was this was a compilation of stuff that's out there, right? And that has been out there for a while. And so for Ice Cube to say, you should do this, right? Because that's essentially what he's saying, right? Like all that stuff that people have been saying the federal government should do. Okay. But to create this website, a contract with Black America, to do this whole thing, I think was maximum sophisticated confusion because all of the stuff is already out there. And so if the idea is to just say we should do it, there are a lot of people saying we should do it, but the reason it's not being done is because we have no economic or political power to get it done. And having somebody from the celebrity class simply say, you should do it, isn't going to change the fact that we have no economic and political power to get it done. That's my point. So my point is, go ahead.
I think what he was doing in talking to both of the presidential candidates about the plan was getting the economic power to get it done. The political power to get it done.
What political power?
Now,
what political power? I need clarification. What political power?
The political power of the person in the office.
Okay.
The president of the United States. Having them talk with them about an executive order to make it happen. That is the political power.
No, that's not the political power. You got it wrong, Vincent. The political power. No, the political power is all of the undergirding that I continue to talk about, this down ballot stuff that pushes what happens in the Oval Office or even pushes what happens in the Senate and the House of Representatives. That's what the political power is.
That is of course the Eric Dawson's ideology of the political power.
Oh, okay.
Ice Cube was leveraging the political power and saying, okay, I'm an influencer. I've got some people who follow me. This is what I'd like to put into place. If you will back this, I will back you. That is the political power he was going for.
So you're saying that the celebrity class,
essentially being an a la carte.
So you're saying that the celebrity class steps up and says, right, like, cause I sold some albums, cause I've done some stuff, right? And again, we talk about the albums that he sold, but I sold some albums. I've done some stuff. I can pack, a stadium of people screaming when I'm singing behind a mic because I can do that. I have political power. I have political
Hollywood to make my movies and television to put my show on.
Right, but I have political. But to say that translates into political power. That's what you're saying.
That does.
Okay.
That does.
Okay.
For the simple fact, and this is how it translates into. This is the proof, or the example of why I say that translates into political power, because right now, and with everything going on, with 819,000 dead, with the rise of another 800,000 cases, with two candidates going out and doing everything to get our attention to vote for them. Black America is focused on who? Ice Cube.
Right, but that doesn't, Vincent. I can't believe I'm having this conversation with you. But that doesn't mean political power. All it means is that we're distracted. Are you kidding me? So let me ask you a question. So the same way I talk about Cardi B, so there are people who are focused on Cardi B. He doesn't have no political power.
She has influence.
Right, but influence. Right, but Vincent, influence over what?
You're in marketing. You go to, when you are marketing and you want to get your product out, you go to the station that has the most looks.
No. Now, and I don't want to dig into the weeds of this, but Vincent, if I'm selling men's products, but I go to a station, even though they have a tremendous number of eyeballs at that station, but they're women at that station, then that's not my audience, right? If I got a product that sells to 18 to 25-year-olds, and I may go to a station that has 40 million views, but those are 65-year-old people, then I'm at the wrong goddamn station, right? So don't paint the whole marketing thing with that broad brush. So what I'm saying is this:
Well,
Cardi
because
B.
those
Wait a
are
minute.
the
Let me
weeds
finish.
of it,
Since
but
you put
yeah,
that out
go
there,
ahead.
let me finish because I don't want to misinform people. So when Cardi B has a specific audience, she's got a very specific audience, right? And her audience is not an in tune political audience, right? So yes, she's an influencer, but an influencer where? And so now you all of a sudden think that you can take and put her over here, and this one for one, she's gonna bring those people who buy her albums and look at her raunchy videos, that they're all of a sudden going to be in tune with politics. That is not how it happens. And the very fact that we as Black Americans believe that we can take somebody from the entertainment class, right, and all of a sudden they're astute enough to be able to have these conversations is why we're in the problems that we're in. That doesn't happen like that.
Let's
Look at it.
say that because Muhammad Ali was in entertainment, Sidney Poitier was in entertainment. So what's the difference? They had a platform that they used to get what they wanted to get done, and they worked with Martin Luther King. So I don't understand how being an entertainer does not allow you to use your platform for good. Because we've just talked about before about LeBron James and all the good that he does with his platform.
So I'm gonna answer a question for you. So and you said it right. So Aretha Franklin, whether we talk about Sammy Davis Jr. or the rest of those entertainers, right? What did they do? They tied into Martin Luther King. Right. See, and then on the other side, Muhammad Ali tied into Malcolm X. Do you understand what I'm saying? So my question to you is this: who's Cardi B tied into? Who's Ice Cube tied into? Who are these people?
They are tied into millions of people who could be potential voters here.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
the whole thing.
Okay. But I just answered the question about what you were just talking about, Diane. So you had authenticity. You had Malcolm, right? Who wasn't an entertainer. Malcolm was steeped in activism, right? Had gained a tremendous amount of credibility in that space, and then reached for Muhammad Ali and said to Muhammad Ali. So it wasn't Ali who did that. They reached to him and said, "Hey, you can be helpful here."
So tell me, who should Ice Cube reach into?
No. So before we can certainly get into that conversation, but what I want to say to you is this.
Nobody.
But what?
The only
All
person that actually speaks for Black people is Al Sharpton, and some people don't follow him.
Right, but all I want to do is make sure that we're setting the record straight, right? When we make these comparisons, that we understand what we're trying to compare. So to compare Ice Cube to Ali, or to compare Ice Cube. Wait a minute. So to make the comparison of Ice Cube to Ali, or to make the comparison of Ice Cube to
I'm making a comparison from entertainer to entertainer.
but you use names.
That is a valid comparison.
But you use names. But the scary part is that you use.
I haven't seen anybody.
Right, I know, I understand that, but my concern is that you use specific names, right?
Well, that's fine, but Ice Cube is a specific name.
No, I understand that, and so when you use these, so when you say I'm going to compare Ice Cube to Ali, or compare Ice Cube to Harry Belafonte, or compare, I'm saying you can't do that.
What? No, you can, because they're entertainers.
No, you
They were
can't.
entertainers. So what I'm saying to you is
Only in the fact that they were entertainers.
Ice Cube tie into who?
What?
Because there is no one. So should he wait?
Wait a
for
minute.
someone
That's
to
not
come
true,
out and say
Diane.
it?
Diane, but we had this conversation last week, right? We had this conversation last week.
Dr. Anderson had the ear of governors, the ear of president, and he couldn't get it done.
But-
so you tell me, who should Ice Cube wait for?
Diane, listen. All I'm saying to you is this: that Ice Cube has a right. Just like Steve Harvey had a right. Right? And anybody else who wants to go and hold court with Donald Trump or anybody else, they all have a right to do it. I'm just putting it in perspective. Call a go.
No,
I think the big difference
is they don't have the right. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that they don't have the right. They certainly do have the right. But when
that they don't have the right.
What?
People are saying that he does not represent me.
No.
He did not talk to me. He cannot speak for me. So
Right. Well, they
that's what
know.
people
So,
are saying.
whoa, that's different, right? So he can certainly go there. I'm not no, and I don't think anybody would say you can't go there. But then you can't come back and say that you went there on my behalf without having a conversation with me. I have the right to say that to you. So, but I can't say if Vincent Squire or Diane decided that they wanted to go and have a conversation with somebody, I can't tell you don't go talk to them. But if you go talk to them and then you come back and say, hey, I went to speak on Eric's behalf, I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, you didn't.
Well, that's a total different thing than somebody going there and speaking to someone in power for some rights to help a great deal of people who are affected versus somebody going there and asking for something solely for themselves. But I'm sorry,
that
go ahead.
doesn't make sense because what you're saying is if I didn't vote for Cory Booker has no right to speak for me. Well, he's still in the position to speak, whether I want him to speak for me or not. He is, because he has that position to do so. Ice Cube has a platform that he's using, so he's able to connect with him. So whether you want him to speak for you or not, he's saying what he wants black people to have. Now, if we get it, you can't then say, I don't want it. Are you going to be the one to say,
Right.
I don't want any of that?
No. So what I'm saying to you again. The same way I say that Al Sharpton doesn't speak for me, right? The same way I say that Al Sharpton doesn't speak for me. The same way I say Jesse Jackson doesn't speak for me, right? The same way I say that about them and many other folks that they don't speak for me. He has a right to go there, and like I say, look, as long as, and this is what my father said, those who you won't let die won't let you live. So as long as we keep breathing life into some of these people who don't speak for us, right, we're never going to be able to live. We're never going to be able to elevate beyond that, right?
But we also have to spoken life into people to speak for us because nobody's saying anything.
True.
That's silent.
True. And Eric, you're looking at the simple fact that you're saying that these people don't speak for you. But there are millions of other people who are embracing their message, and they're speaking for them. And I think Diane made a perfect good point. If he did say yes to those things and those programs and gave them money to fund everything to get it going, would you just simply say no, I don't want it because Ice Cube did it? You're cutting off your nose to spite your face.
No.
I mean, and just to go backwards. We're still talking about an individual.
No, I'm not talking. No, I'm beyond the individual. No. Nope. I moved beyond the individual, and I was talking about the plan. And what I was saying simply about the plan was that this plan is a curation of content that already exists.
So you tell them that idea and it never goes to anybody else?
Well, I'll answer that.
Idea doesn't get procured until that one person brings the idea forward, or does the idea happen in many people, and whoever the best person is able to bring it out is when it happens?
Nope, I'll answer that question in a second. Che Coulter's on the line. Go, Che.
Real quick, Eric, Diane, and Vincent.
Good morning.
Something that my brother brought to my attention was because Ice Cube's younger, they have a serious problem with what he's doing because he's agitating the political psychology and opinion around something that allows younger voters to understand it very simply. Even if they agree or disagree, it allows them to look at both candidates as they're matching up. This is one of the reasons why in college sports, they don't have referees interacting with the fan so that the game and the matchup is not influenced. There are a lot of people that are up in arms because Ice Cube has agitated in the fourth quarter of this election, this presidential election, and I think all the opinions and perspectives you're dialoguing is good. He's agitating, and I think that this will prompt a larger conversation.
Right, but here's the question I want to ask you.
You know how this is scary? You want to know how this is scary? Ice Cube is not a part of this generation. Ice Cube is 51 years old.
Thank you.
We're actually the same age. He is not reaching that 18 to 25-year-old. They don't even know who the hell he is, right? But there's that messaging. There's that space where we try to perpetuate something that just ain't true, right? He's from my generation. Cardi B got a better chance of ginning up that 18 to 30-year-old vote than Ice Cube.
And you know what? And I gotta say,
Actually, no, that's incorrect.
I hear your point.
That's incorrect because the rap community, Ice Cube is considered royalty.
He's
Not even that much for the no from the movie.
But that's just like in our young groups. That's just like the young gang member looks at the old gang member as they might give him reverence or respect, but they don't. The streets of Newark show it every day. They don't respect him enough to not do their own thing, right? I'm not saying that Ice Cube can't gin up a space amongst black people, right? But we're having this conversation, right? And exploited. Those words didn't come out of my mouth, right? Those words came out of his mouth. Everyone wants to act like that wasn't said, right? I'm not a proponent to defend Joe Biden and his camp under any other camp, right? But it was reasonable for someone to say to him, hey, we ain't in power. So when the election is over, if we're in power, I think it was we like 85% of what you're saying. At least they were fair and honest about, hey, we don't like it all. We like 85%, but we'll talk to you about that, right? He was exploited in the sense that, listen, why are we talking about, and I hate to talk about Trump because I'm sick of it too, right? But why are we talking about someone who shows such little respect, but all of us, they just wanted to attack that black man.
okay,
And that's what he did.
okay, we got.
That's exactly the point.
That's exactly what he did.
Right? And guess what? You don't really have to say Trump's name, Diane, to keep perpetuating his stuff, right? All we have to do is make Ice Cube the conversation for the next 2 weeks to gin up support, and he's gotten exactly what he wanted, right? Again.
So you telling me, talking about the stuff that black people deserve and should have for free labor is not what we should be talking about? We should be only concentrating on the 2 white men to get in office. We shouldn't be offering our vote and saying that we demand this in order to get our vote. We shouldn't be doing that.
Okay. No, ready? You can't have a plan in the black community, and there's no education proponent of that plan. That plan should be scrapped, and we should start from anew. Because if we're not changing how we got here, which everyone knows, how we got here is by the failure of the system to educate black and brown people in this country, right? So how in the hell do we make a plan and leave out bringing education and making that equal and making that real and pushing that forward for generations to come? That's the only way we can change our circumstance, right? Is to change the generations behind us and to make sure that we as a people receive equal and quality education for all children in this country. How in the hell are we talking about a plan that don't have
get together and say that we deserve stuff? We can't even get together and say we deserve this and our vote is worth this. We can't even do that. So to work towards the future, to correct the past, won't happen because too many people are focused on individuals instead of doing what's best for everybody and talking about what's best for everybody.
Good points,
So,
Joanne and Diane. Just wanted to highlight this last thing, Eric, before I get off.
Sure.
In the post-Obama era, we have seen not much of a conversation happen with the hip-hop community. And to encourage Jody's point, all right, Ice Cube is he's 51. He's over 45 years old. But one of the things, we're dealing with the political psychology of this. He's speaking to the hip-hop community. He's speaking to the thug nation that Tupac was never able to reach. And a lot of people in that demographic don't have a lot of formal education, and they need to begin to think about who are the Trumps and Bidens at the local level, because we need our local Ice Cubes, whether they have a PhD or whether they're just a respectable person in their community,
right,
to hold our local people to the fire.
Right. That's part of my point. Thanks for the comment.
Go ahead, brother.
We got Dre San right on the line. Go ahead, Dre.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm trying to understand a little bit because I do understand Jody's point of view where she's saying that, he doesn't represent her. I understand Eric's point that, these are all his talking points, are things that have already been discussed. And I also understand Diane's point of view, where at least he's saying something. And I have to say, yes, they're all true. Cardi B is not a representation of anyone. Neither is Megan Thee Stallion. Let's just say all they're doing is just talking gibberish and caca. At the end of the day, we should be happy that at least he's stepping up. He's saying something. It may not be what we may agree on. Everything that he's saying may not be everything that we think should be on the board. But at least he's opening the platform. At least he's saying, you know what? Now I've opened the door. How about somebody that has some credibility can come in after me? At least he's showing that, the minority group is actually reaching out to a different party just to see what can be done. As opposed to just thinking, let's give the Democratic Party a chance. No. I think we need to look at it as, you know what? He's looking outside the box. This is someone who just a few years ago wrote a song that said, kill the president. Just 2 years ago, But he's looking beyond that, and now he's reaching out to the party that, the minorities think that they're against. And that's just not a fair point of view of it, I mean, what's the problem with him addressing, bullet points that have been addressed before, Eric? I'm trying to understand.
So, I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to explain it to you, right? Because what I want, I don't want smoke and mirrors, right? I don't want deflections, distractions, and a shell game. I want to see the needle moved. And if there's a whole lot of motion and I know that at the end the needle's not going to be moved, then I want to say stop, because we're being distracted, because the needle's not going to get moved, guys. And what I see, Dre, to answer your question, is when we're talking about the same things that are already out there and it hasn't been done, then what I do as a person who's knowledgeable about politics is understand why they were never done before. And they weren't done before because we don't have economic and political power to effectuate change. And so now all of a sudden you say, well, hey, listen, we got a guy who's going to be talking about the same shit that's already out there. Get excited about that. And I'm like, no, because I want to have action. And I know that there will be no action unless we have economic and political change, economic and political power. And so what I'm saying is this: let's fight for the economic and political power, and let's stop regurgitating the same shit that's already out there and getting people excited about some shit that ain't gonna really happen. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It ain't gonna happen.
Okay. But we know this isn't gonna happen. It's like you said, these bullet points have been happening for probably decades at this point, But the thing is that, this is the first time that we've seen somebody that's actually
Okay, so you know what? So, but here's the thing, right? I don't need Dre. So now we say in this particular iteration of it, we say, well, now we have a person who has a platform who can reach the hip hop and the gang community or the street community, and in another iteration we'll be saying 20 years from now, oh, but this person's a great orator and they're bringing it about because they're a great orator. And in another iteration we'll say, oh, well, because it's a such and such and such and such. And I'm going to continue to say, it ain't gonna change until we have economic and political power. So they'll keep they'll keep allowing these different iterations to occur. This is the brilliance of the freaking corporation of white supremacy. They'll keep allowing these various iterations to occur, making you believe that you're moving somewhere when in fact you're like the hamster on a goddamn wheel. And all they did was they bedazzled the wheel for you. And so now you're excited about the bedazzlement of the wheel, but it's still the same goddamn wheel.
No, but you see, that's the thing. I'm not looking at it as this being a nice cube thing. I'm looking at it somebody stepping outside the box and considering doing something, which hopefully leads others that can make the change, that should make the change, and step outside their box and say, you know what? If Ice Cube, entertainer, could do it and was able to look outside the box, maybe, you know what? I'm in politics. I'm a minority. You know what? Let me see if I can sell this to the Republican Party. may not be this president, this Republican president. It could be another one.
Dre,
But the thing is that
Dre,
we need to stop.
let me ask you a question. But I want to ask you this question right now. What do we see being poured into the election on both sides? We see hundreds of millions of dollars. We don't hear rhetoric. The people who are ultimately going to be shaping this thing, they understand that it is about economic power. So they're anteing up. And I'm going, and we're having a conversation. And we're regurgitating the same shit that's already been out there. And we're getting excited about the regurgitation and the messenger of the regurgitation of the same information that's out there. Meanwhile, there is no seizing of economic power. None. There's no consolidation of economic power. There's nothing.
Unfortunately, economic power in the minority group is just not going to happen.
Okay, so now, stop for a second. So now if we conclude, can I ask you a question, Dre? So if we conclude that's not going to happen right now, do you agree with me that that is a key ingredient to any of those things that's in this plan?
But see, you keep looking at, you're hyper-focused on the plan.
No, I'm not. I don't get, listen, I'm focused on economic and political power. Let's be clear.
That's part of the plan.
And the thing is, okay, we need both those things, economical, whatever. Okay, we know that we need to get through that. And we all know that that's not going to happen overnight. It's just not going to happen overnight. We know that. It's taken decades to get where we are today, and it's not great. You know what I'm saying? At all, in any way, shape, or form. But at least, let's look at it like this. If someone was able to step out of their box and look into another box and work with that box, then this will open up the door for that. Maybe open up communications. That's the key to start developing, economic power. To start developing influence, But, to expect that this is going to happen overnight and that I plan, is going to make it happen, that would be naive. But the point is that at least he's trying. And the thing is that we need to stop looking at this one group being the savior of us and saying, you know what, we need to become our own saviors. We need to focus. So now we have to play the game at the same way people are playing.
I agree with that. That piece I agree with.
If white people are manipulating us minorities, then we have to play the same game, ultimately. But it's not.
So what you're saying is that we should do two wrongs to make it right? Or because all of this right now is what I wanted to say. All of this is the distraction. It's the little shiny object that gets everybody off of what they're actually dealing with and what they need to be focused on. Now, you talked about economic power, and even some of the things in which you said that you read out in his plan gives that economic power. Now, here is the thing. We are now distracted by the messenger.
No, I'm not. No. Forget him. Forget him. No. Forget him.
The only time that black people have leverage is with their votes. And this is the only opportune time is at an election.
Correct.
So it's not opportune time. Eric, please tell me, when is the best time that we should sit down and have a conversation about what black people deserve, if not at election time?
Well, so what I'm gonna, I'd say, so just historically, Diane, to answer the question, right? To simply try to shove down the complexities, the nuances, and everything during election time, it doesn't work, right? There has to be, and which is why, what do we talk about? We say we have to have civics, right? We have to put civics back in school. We have to do all of these different things because you can't just do it at election time. You have to prime people. You have to educate people. It's years of getting. It's not just election time. That doesn't work. It doesn't. And so I'm not saying that you shouldn't have. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have.
We have their attention. It's not election time, Eric.
What?
Diane is correct. We don't have their attention until it's election
right,
time.
But wait a minute.
Now,
Let me.
got their attention.
We have whose
So
attention?
why not
Wait a minute.
take this
But
opportunity
wait
to
a minute. But these are false narratives again, right? And here's the false narrative. You say we have their attention. What percentage of people vote? Let's have an honest conversation. We have whose attention? Whose attention?
Well, you want to go historically, or you want to go right up to date to right now? Because right now there is a huge percentage of African Americans who have registered to vote. Right now there is a huge percentage of African Americans who are out early, standing 8 hours in a line.
All right,
to vote.
but you know what?
Right
But here you
now,
are. But Vincent,
no, Eric, you asked the question. Let me answer it. Right now we have their attention. Why is it not a good time to talk about our issues?
right. So this is what I'm gonna say. And here you are again pushing freaking Democrat narratives, right? So even wait a minute, you finished. You said you were finished. So now here I am, right? So let's talk about all of the people who are early voting. Did you? And I'm sure you've read this, right? But this is where you cherry pick your content. So what they're debating right now is whether or not the people who are early voting are just bank votes that Democrats counted on any goddamn way. Not that they're extra people. Right? Now, so give the third paragraph of your talking point that doesn't meet the narrative that you're trying to push for the Democratic Party. That somehow these early voters are extra voters. They're talking right now, and even coming out of the Biden campaign, they're concerned that all they're doing is banking people who would have voted anyway, and all they're doing is getting out early to vote, as opposed to voting later on. Wait a minute, Diane, because I want to deal with Vincent on his narratives.
Well, deal with Vincent on his narrative. Even if they get the people who they're banking on voting, the Democrats win, because the people who they banked on voting didn't vote, and Hillary lost. So what narrative am I talking about that's fake?
Wait a minute, say that one more time. Slow that down.
Let's look at it. How many African Americans did not vote on the Hillary Trump campaign, and Trump won?
Right, but Vincent,
No, let me finish. So now you're saying that, okay, they're just banking on the average people that they're supposed to get the vote. Well, yes, that part is true. They want to get the regular voters who out to vote, because the regular voters, the majority of them, did not vote.
But Vincent, you okay? So here's the other thing. I swear, I wish you would just be accurate in what you put out, right? So you're making this assumption that these folks that are coming out and voting, early voting, that they're voting the top of the ticket, right?
No, I'm not making that assumption. So please don't put those words in my mouth. None of that came out of my mouth.
Well, you just yes, it did.
I said, and I'll repeat, what they're realizing is that they have a huge number of voter registration, a huge number of voter turnout, a huge number of people who have sent in their mail-in ballot.
Vincent, no matter how much you yell or try to overtalk me, what you said then, you followed that up by talking about Hillary Clinton. Right? So now you didn't talk about Senate races. You didn't talk about House races. You didn't talk about gubernatorial races. You said Hillary Clinton, which was top of the goddamn ticket in 2016. And so now what I'm saying to you is this. You're trying to make a one-to-one comparison by saying, well, these people didn't come out and vote for Hillary. Right?
That's because you said. That's because you said I was supporting Democratic rhetoric, and they just want to get the people out who they normally depend on.
No.
And I said yes.
But
because no, and no, and please. I said that because of the lack of African Americans who voted during the Hillary Clinton. So even if they accomplished that, he has a strong chance in winning.
Well, let me ask Eric a question. So, Eric, I get your point. All right, we shouldn't have to wait till the general election to address these issues. That we should be addressing it. Looking beyond the president, maybe look at the senators and House representatives and local elections and make the change there. Yes, we understand that that's just where the change begins locally. But when we have a situation such as in Baltimore race right now, you have the young black woman who's going against Republican young black woman who's going against a Democratic black opponent down in Baltimore. And then this person goes on the View where it's a white woman dictating who should win on a race down in Baltimore. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, no matter how much we say that we need to make the change, the white Democrats are manipulating, And what I'm saying is that's happening. And you know what? We might as well take advantage of what IQ was introducing. It may not be what we agree with, It may not be what the appropriate time, but ultimately, it's fine. And we need to take advantage of it. And again, it could be introduced by somebody else. But we have to take a look in consideration that this is being manipulated no matter what by the white Democrats. And again, Baltimore is a perfect example. They are choosing which minority is going to run Baltimore.
Right.
Okay.
So Diane, back to answering your question, Diane.
And behalf of the majority of black listeners and viewers, where's the fault in that? Is it the simple fact that which black is being backed by which white person, or is it the fact that there are some independent black people, or does someone have a puppet pulling their strings?
And that's where I'm trying to tell you. We need to step outside the box. We need to stop thinking that if it's it has to be a Democrat. It has to be a Democrat. No, it doesn't have to be a Democrat. It has to be somebody that can sell our issues, our agenda.
Right. So
you see what I'm saying, Vincent? I'm not looking at it like you, where the only people that can give us is the Democrats. No, I'm saying that it needs to be sold to whoever will buy it and will deliver. And if they don't, and if they buy it and they don't deliver, then next election, guess what? You just don't vote for them.
First and foremost, don't say that you are not like me. No. First and foremost, don't say that you're not like me and saying that it's only the Democrats. Because since the first day I've gotten on this show, I expressed to them that we've been loyal. Black people have been democratically loyal to a party that has not been loyal to them. In fact, I will say it again. I'm a Republican. So no. It's not the D or the R. No. It's not the D or the R. It's the person to do the job.
Right. So Diane, back to answer your question. Right.
No.
Diane,
No.
right.
All I'm doing is pushing the simple fact that Trump is unfit.
Right. So Diane, back to answer your question, Diane. Wait. Okay. Wait. Back to answer your question, Diane. Here's where I am. About when we should be having a conversation. We should always have the conversation. I think that we are fooling ourselves to believe that when we start to have it during election time, somehow it's gonna miraculously have an impact when we haven't had it all year round or leading up to election time, because there's so many messages that at that point are floating out there that it's complicated, right? But beyond that, when you're having the conversation at the top of the ticket, right? So in this case, we're talking about solving black issues at the top of the ticket, when the conversation should be had. And when Che called in, he talked about this, right? That we should be in these inner cities, eradicating them of failed black leadership, right? And failed leadership in general, but in the inner cities, a lot of black leadership, right? Or elected officials, I don't call them leaders. And that's where we should be focused, because those are the Negro whisperers and the slave catchers that are giving the false narratives and creating the confusion. And then we're having this conversation about what we need. And I would dare say that one of the first things we need is to get rid of them. It's one of the first things we need. We need to get rid of them. And until we do that, nothing is going to fundamentally change. We have to get rid of them. We have to get rid of those people who are propping up a failed party, right? And if we're not doing that, and if we're having these conversations and regurgitating stuff that we already know about the poverty. We already know about redlining. We already know about failed schools. We already know about all of this stuff. We live it every day. Every day of our existence, we're living it. So I don't need anybody to tell me that. Yeah, this is what it is. But we need to identify the people who are blocking us from, the blessings of what we are entitled to as Black Americans. That's what we need to be focused on. So I'd love to see Ice Cube go into those inner cities and blast those mayors and those council people and just blast them. Just put them all on blast. Go do that.
And to be honest with you, when have, besides this actual point, when have you seen Ice Cube endorse, support, or say anything about a political candidate?
Right. So anyway, that's what I'd like to see him do. So we got a half an hour, right? There was a you mentioned Vincent that Dr. Fauci was on what
60 Minutes.
was on 60 Minutes, right? And we have a conversation about what he talked about there. But I also want to talk about this conversation or this statement that Donald Trump made, where he said, you know,
Which one?
well, he said if we followed the science, if we purely followed the science, the country would be not only in financial, like in depression, but that the spirit of Americans would be broken and we would be a depressed nation, right?
That goes with his statement at his campaign in Wisconsin, where he says Biden is going to listen to the scientists,
Sure,
and they're going to lock down our country.
right. And so what I want to do is, look, there's a part of me that says, yeah, some of that is true, right? The science, the folks, because understand this, whether you agree with it or not, right? The scientists are not looking at what the economists are looking at. The scientists are purely looking at the science. And they're saying, this is going to happen, and this is what you need to do to keep this from happening, right? To keep this virus from spreading, you need to do X, Y, and Z. But outside of that, there are real implications to following that to the letter, right? And following it to the letter means that businesses will close. It means that people will be unemployed. It means that that the economy will crumble. It means a whole lot, right? And the scientist's job, but the scientist's job isn't to look at that. It is to purely give you the science. But then on the other side, you have the economists who say, okay, thanks for giving us the science. But now if we do this, here's what's going to occur. And now you have to have people who look and balance all that and say, how do we proceed?
Okay. Well, let's look at our present situation and the battle between the science and the economists.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, our present situation was based upon scientists saying that this is coming. And we were close. In fact, in March, President Trump, knowing that his election was coming up, knows that it is difficult for any sitting president to get reelected, or an incumbent president to get reelected when the economy is bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, knowing that, okay, quarantining is the actual metrics to reduce the spread and put this under controllable levels, he decided to not do that. He ignored the science based upon the economists,
Sure.
or keeping the economy going.
Mm-hmm.
So what we face now was that, okay, what they did is to now threaten people by telling them to, go and liberate their states and open your economy. And then politicians said, okay, no, what we're going to do is that since these states are shutting down on their own, we have to give them relief. So to get it passed to the Republicans, that relief turned out to be a disproportionate number going to corporations who didn't need the money versus the individuals who do need the money. The economists versus the science. Now, look at the economy versus the science. Now, because everybody is saying, okay, the economy is crap, well, the people that we've been listening to this failed ideology, we've been drinking the Kool-Aid. There are people who now, in fact, Friday, they reported 898,000 first-time unemployed people filing for unemployment and 372,000 business owners who have closed. Now they're saying, okay, your theory did not work. Now, what are you doing, economists? Well, economists are now saying, okay, well, maybe we were wrong in giving the money to corporations, and we should give it to individuals and small businesses. The science is saying that, yes, while you're doing that, then you have the money and wherewithal to sustain people, and maybe we should actually start putting on masks. The politicians are saying, one politician is saying, you don't need to wear a mask. I don't wear a mask. Don't be afraid of the virus. Go out and live your life. Yet, we still have now an additional 800,000 cases of the coronavirus based on his version of economy and science. The issue that we have right now, Eric, is that everyone is facing exhaustion. We're exhausted of restrictions.
What do you think? Which communities do you think is mostly affected by that? Can I ask you that question? Do you think that the economy being closed down the way it is affecting, urban cities such as Newark more than it does the white communities that, that live in the suburbs?
Well, let's look at the actual data. Closing down the economy, they still had the essential workers, which consist of a large portion of people of color. Now, in closing down the economy, they did end up that the suburban workers or the middle-class households were able to and had the wherewithal, the bandwidth, and equipment to work from their home and still get a check. So, tell me, who did it affect the worst?
So I'm asking you, do you think the urban communities are mostly affected by this shutdown?
Yes, they are. But hold on. But on that same metric, the urban communities were also affected when it wasn't shut down, with the rampant spread of disease, in which the urban communities are disproportionately affected by.
Well, I'm trying to answer. So you think economically, urban communities are affected the most, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then at the end of the day, this is hurting us. We need to open up the economy. Yes, I know that we're in worse shape than not, and I saw the statistics about it. There's a lot of underlying conditions. The minority groups, whether Hispanic or whether Black, we're not in the best shape. It's just fake. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's affecting us economically. No.
No.
The other day, I went to downtown North, which I normally don't go to downtown North because I just don't like the quality of lifestyle. It's just not my thing. I stopped on there years ago. I'm from North, but I don't go downtown to downtown. And I was reminded as to why. I'm walking down the street where Vin is at, and I hear a drug dealer arguing with his crackhead that why did he go to somebody else to buy his crack? You see what I'm saying? You have all these peddlers, little peddlers, shops outside the stores. You don't see this kind of stuff in white neighborhoods.
Okay, Jay. Well, let me say this to you.
In a sport, and then you shut down the economy. It makes it even worse.
Dre, it doesn't make it even worse. Okay, because let's look at the actual things you're saying. You're saying that shut down the economy hurts the urban areas because they're unable to work. No, not true at all. The urban areas were unable to work in the beginning. Okay? And yes, the economy needs to be open, but you cannot run the economy when everybody is sick and dying, and you become a spreader. And let's look at it. No. I did let you finish.
Well, he is a caller, so I need you to. But listen, Vincent.
So that Trump can say that he's built the greatest economy ever, and two, those billionaires and trillionaires aren't losing their millions.
Right.
That's all.
Let me ask you another question. What kind of jobs do you think that these urban residents have?
Okay, the urban residents, in terms of the actual economy, that have not been suffering, or the ones that have been suffering?
No, let me ask you, what type of jobs do you think they have?
Listen, I can't give you the actual gamut of the economic or the diversity of the urban area.
I'm not asking
a majority are the blue-collar workers. A majority of them are the service industries, the store clerks. A majority of them are the warehouse workers and hospitality.
Yeah, exactly. And what is being affected by the economy being shut down?
Well, let's see. Let's look at
exactly those things that you just mentioned. Is it not?
Yes, it is.
Exactly. So
Yes.
that's being effective.
Well, let's look at this. Well, answer this question for me. Now, are those urban areas, which are predominantly people of color, are they not disproportionately affected by the virus?
Yes, but again.
Okay. Well, no. You said yes. Now here is the next question for you.
Well, wait a minute.
Okay.
No, Vincent. Wait, no. But Vincent.
Let me finish.
Vincent, no, I'm not going to let you finish. He asked you a question, and then you began asking him questions without ever answering the question he asked you.
Okay, what is the question that I did not answer?
Dre?
Yes. Do you think that is it not hurting the urban communities more? So don't we need to open up anyway? Because we're being hurt as it is. You got to remember, Vincent, not everyone gets to live in a nice, cushy house. Not everyone has expendable income. And the urban communities, that's what they live off. The service industry, the food industry, the hospitality industry, the warehouse industry, the manufacturing industry. And those things are shut down. How do you think it's going to affect us? Yeah, I get it. It does affect us. We are hit slightly more than white people when it comes to the virus itself. But again, that also plays into a part where we ourselves put ourselves in that situation as well. We have to remember. I'm going to give you a perfect example. My mom, her husband lives in a building where there's 6 apartments, right? So their idea of quarantining means that they not to leave the building, but they can interact within the apartment, and within your neighbors. That's not doing you any help. So again, don't you think you might as well just open up the economy? Because we are getting hurt the most. Urban communities are getting hurt worse than anybody else.
No, I do not think that we should full open up the economy. And here is why. Now, can I answer that? Do you mind? Okay. Let's look at why. Now, we decided to shut down, and they said that people are therefore hurting. We need to give them relief. So they came up with the stimulus relief, in which trillions with the corporations, and every household got $1,200. No. That's not relief. That's government cheese when you're unemployed. Now, the next thing that we need to do, okay, and you want to know my opinion? No, we need to start talking to these politicians and tell them to stop pulling all this bull crap about corporations getting money. Let's do a real stimulus economic package while people are still shut down to help them rebuild and regain their lives. And that includes small businesses, not these large corporations that don't need the money. We got 300,000 small businesses where people have invested all that they have that are closing. Yet there is no relief for them. They're just saying, okay, we're shutting down.
Well, you have to understand also that these big corporations also employ minorities.
Okay, I'm hearing reverb. Somebody got another source on?
Nope.
Okay.
So you're talking about no relief for the big corporations, but you got to remember they also.
I didn't say no relief for the big corporations. I said no relief for the small businesses, or not substantial relief for the small businesses.
There was relief, and the Republican Party is trying to push for that. But I don't want to make it about whether it's a Republican or a Democratic thing. I'm more concerned that our people are just suffering, really, really bad. And I get it. There's a pandemic. I get it that we're not in the best of health and that we're affected more than others. But at the end of the day, what's the solution? There really is no solution. We're fucked. Pardon my French. We're screwed no matter what.
Here is the solution.
So,
your health.
Hey, we might as well just do what we got to do.
Well, let me quote Job for you. I have my health. I have everything. We keep putting our health at risk for money, for coins. And you can't make those when you're dead. Here's the solution. Let's look at what we have to do to, one, keep this virus under control. Then the economy will take care of itself. Let's look at helping those people who right now have to stay at home instead of helping those corporations who are already staying at home in a plush lifestyle. Let's look at giving people more than $1,200
Well, I think
When
that
they
we
got when they
right.
got
So
$1,200
okay,
more in
but we don't
credit
have to
card
right,
bills.
but we don't have to yell, right? So we have conversation without yelling.
Yeah.
I think yeah, folks should be getting more than that. I think that I think all of it though, right? I think I just don't believe that we could shut down and then start back up, right? I just don't think it works like that. Now, I'm not an economist, and and I'll raise my hand and say I'm not. Um, uh, but I just don't believe that you can just turn the spigot off and then because things are just going to start dying, right? And so the proposal is that our government can be bloated enough to support all of this as it starts to die, and then all of a sudden you turn a spigot on and then things are just going to revive themselves. I just don't think.
I'm not saying turn the spigot off. What I'm saying is reduce it to a trickle.
I can't. You're breaking up.
Okay. I'm not saying, and nor am I projecting or proposing, that we turn the spigot off. What I'm saying is that we reduce it to a trickle. Make sure that we put things in place to eliminate the spread. Nobody, the economists nor the scientists are saying that a shutdown is absolutely necessary. The scientists are saying that is the best option, but they're not saying that is necessary. We have not reached that level. What I'm saying is that, you know what, we can put some things in place to make it economically easy for people, and stop pressuring them to go back and make their $12 an hour job at Walmart and becoming super spreaders. What I'm saying is that we can do things instead of giving trillions of dollars to corporations.
Right. So let me ask you a question. Nancy Pelosi now in the news is this, back and forth between the House and this
Trump.
and Trump, right? And Wolf Blitzer, right, had Nancy Pelosi on. That was a hell of an exchange between the two of them, where he essentially accused the speaker of playing politics. What are your thoughts about that?
Well,
Right.
he is
So
playing
to the
politics.
to the degree that you're talking about, the fact that we should provide this relief. He's saying that we should provide it. House Speaker, and you are as much responsible for this thing being held up as anybody else.
Well, no. What they're doing, what Wolf was doing, was quoting some of the Republican rhetoric about the shutdown or them coming to a disagreement. The Republicans are saying, okay, well, we're giving you 1 point. I think last time 1.4. They just came back with 1.8 trillion. Take that and go. And Nancy is saying that is not enough. What we have to do now, because what they're doing in cutting that is cutting the funding that they have for for landlords, so that they won't have to evict people to give them to take care of that coverage. What they're looking at is covering a second wave for small businesses, because the average business in the PPE protection only got $150,000 versus corporations who got hundreds of millions. That what she was saying was that is not enough, because $1,200 isn't going to do anything when for people who have to stay at home. So they're saying, well, you should just take it because it's better to get something than nothing. She's saying, no, if we're going to get something, then we need to get something.
So
Vincent, that's a lie. She's saying that because she wants to make him guilty. And to you, $1,200 might not help. But to the person that's been out of work for months and months and months, that $1,200 would help, right?
Yeah.
So we can't accuse the other side of playing with our lives. And this lady is playing with people's lives. She's made it clear she simply doesn't want the stimulus check to go out because she doesn't want Donald Trump's name on the check. Who in the hell does that to a country of people who are starving? She's made that clear. Don't excuse that behavior, because
No, they put
one of them.
No, it doesn't make me one of them. And she never said that she doesn't want his name on the checks because they did the last stimulus checks with his name on it. She never.
Listen. If I say it, I guarantee it. I wouldn't say it if I didn't hear it. I don't just throw shit out, stick on the wall. I'm telling you. She said he wants his name on the check. She said that in an interview.
She didn't say that she shut it down because he wants his name on the check. Okay?
That's right, she did.
She did.
Why would she do it? Listen, they've taken off $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there. Listen, it doesn't matter, or it shouldn't matter, right? If Donald Trump at the last minute for politics said, hey, give them what they want. Give them whatever trillions of dollars, right? If she was concerned about the people of this country and not her position in politics, she would have gave it to him. He is where he is. He's not going to get any more votes for it. He ain't going to lose none for it. But there's people out here really suffering. If you've been able to make $1 bill in the last 8 months, you are highly blessed and favored. I've been able to continue to work. I feel like I am highly blessed and favored because I watch people taken out of my job and they aren't coming back, right? She was supposed to stay okay. She's playing politics on the lives of people and she is no different than them.
No, I agree that she's playing politics. And by the way, April 14th is when Donald Trump. April 14th is when Donald Trump said, and they made the decision to put his name on the stimulus checks.
It doesn't matter if his name is on the check or not. They're playing politics and the people as a pawn because they just don't want him to get credit, even though they know we need the money. They just want to do it.
Well,
that's
even
what
though
it's all about.
And I agree that they are playing politics, and their position is that you're not going to give us. You're going to give us what we need.
No, that's
We're not going to. We're not going to.
Wait a minute. So let us be clear though. But let us be clear, Vincent, that Nancy Pelosi is the wealthiest woman in Congress, right? Right, and she's making a determination, as Jody said, that $1,200 isn't enough for people. I mean, so let's talk about so this is back to that Marie Antoinette quote: "Let them eat cake." She's disconnected. She's disconnected. But the point is,
because they were starving. She's saying that that cheese that you're giving them isn't enough.
No, not enough for her. Not enough for her.
exactly
Right? She's going from where I sit as a multimillionaire.
Pelosi is getting an economic check, but she's saying that the checks that you're giving out is not enough money.
Right. But I want to understand who's saying this, right? So this is a multimillionaire, right? Who made, who's saying that to a person whose stomach is touching their back right now. Right now. They got nothing. She's going, yeah, that's not enough for them. That's who's saying that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
to be honest,
got it.
She said that about the first one. In fact,
But you know what's interesting about this too? AOC and the squad and all of them who fought her, and she had to negotiate with them to keep her seat, have been silent about this. They haven't been saying, "Oh, we need to push back. They need to do this." They haven't been speaking out.
And you know what, Diane? But so you're 100% right. And to me, that's where the fight needs to be, right? So to have the fight right now with Donald Trump or even with Biden, as opposed to folks turning to AOC and the squad and saying, whoa, we sense some shit going on right now, that you guys are capitulating. See, they need to be dealing with them and then letting folks know, because now you have them and you have other people who are coming to Congress who, like we've always said, you train people how to treat you, right? So right now, we're training AOC and the squad how to treat us. And then we're showing those who are coming into Congress how we treat those who turn on us, right? So all of that is happening right now. That whole dynamic is happening right now. And so to ignore them, to say, well, you know what? But she fought for this thing over here, so we're gonna let her slide on this thing. No, we're not letting you slide. It's be zero tolerance.
Yeah, yeah. They spoke
Okay.
out
Oh,
when primary time came, and after the primaries happened, and they secured their seats in the Democratic Party, they have been silent, and now they're doing what they were supposed to be doing, towing the line.
Right, but what I say to you
Okay.
about
Wait, wait,
Ayanna,
wait,
right?
wait,
I
wait,
even said to
to
you about
correct
Ayanna, I said, look,
a statement.
I got a problem with her.
AOC said that the Democrats should not look for that little nice sugar hill and actually hold out.
Yeah, watch these get a check from being a waitress. Come on now. How does that even make sense? You were a former waitress making no money. Now you got a six-figure guaranteed job with benefits that other people also lost, and you telling us to hold out?
She is saying to Congress that they should hold out for a sizable coronavirus relief deal.
Yeah.
And she told that to Politico.
While her checks are still getting cashed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, she's not talking for the people. She's speaking for herself.
And she also said that the package should also include state aid and health funding. And
So here's what I'm gonna say, and I'm not gonna say she shouldn't say that everybody should get $1 million. I'm not saying that she shouldn't say that everybody should get. But at the end of the day, when you look at the cards that you have, you look at the leverage that you have, you look at the pain and suffering of the people, you have to say, look, we don't have the cards to get that. Yeah, we'd love it, but we didn't do the necessary groundwork to be in a position to negotiate like that. And while we're trying to negotiate, right, guess who's suffering? Right? So you need to take care of the people who are suffering.
Yeah, well, what she's saying, this is how I'm interpreting it, and them playing politics. The Democrats are now saying that we're not in a position where we're going to be begging. We're going to be demanding.
Right, but no, see, but here, okay, but again, these are, we got to talk about the we're talking about these people who, like Diane said, who are receiving guaranteed checks, who have the best health care this country has to offer, right?
Agreed.
Who are now sitting and saying, you know what, we're gonna play hardball. But you know what? Let one of their checks not get directly deposited into their account, right? While they're playing hardball with somebody else's life. See? So I
Actually, Eric.
So the problem in
their constituents' life, right? In large part, who's hurting out here? In large part, the people that support that Democratic Party are the people who are hurting out here. So they when you talk about that why do we support them as a people? This is the reason why that argument is so strong. Because if they got what they deserve, those long lines of black folks would stop. Because they would say, or we would be able to believe and understand that this party is making us suffer for a vote. How we make it to that line, how we pull that lever doesn't really matter. If I got a call because I haven't eaten, it doesn't matter. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard of. And it makes you understand why people don't want to support that party anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I can say this, and what I'm seeing is this. The Republican Party are starting to actually fall apart, but during the position of Trump starting out in his first year, none of them stood up to him. None of them.
This is just like soar above your head, but are you, I'm like, Eric, are you being paid?
No, I'm not being paid, but what I am doing is some counterpoints. Now, if we're going to talk, and yeah, I understand what you're saying, but let's also look at the simple fact that, you know what, some of those Republicans have not stood up for the people or their constituents. They held the party line. So basically, whatever Trump said is what they did. and they need to go too.
Yes, I'm not saying that they ought not go, but I think that what Jody is saying is, when you look at this, here's the gamesmanship that's happening right now. You know, it is trying to convince those people who are not like hardcore, because the hardcore Democrats are going to vote for Democrat. Now, hardcore Republicans are voting for Republican. It's those people who are on the fence and they're suffering. And the question is, which party can convince those people that the other party is responsible for their suffering? That's the game. That's the game that's happening right now.
That is game.
Right, that's the game right now, right? And it's like, well, like hey Diane, why are you FaceTiming me?
Accident. I had my phone in my pocket.
That's all right. But that is the gamesmanship that's happening right now, right? And the collateral damage of all of these people who are living on the edge, right? And the Democrats are so hell bent on defeating Donald Trump that they say, you know what? It's worth it, right? They've done some calculation and they said, you know what? This collateral damage is necessary in order to achieve our objective. I mean, let's have that honest conversation. That's what they're saying. They're saying and they're saying, you know what? And at the end of the day, the people will understand because we've convinced them that by all measure, we must what? Stop Donald Trump. You see? And so now all of those people, just take it right now. Just take it. And I agree with you, Vincent, on the Republican side. And that's why I say it's easy. It's real easy to talk about what the Republicans are doing. But damn it, when you start to understand what these people who you've embraced, who you say you love and you support and you care about and you're willing to die for before you're willing to die for yourself, when somebody is putting in your face what they're doing, that's difficult to swallow. But that's what they're doing calculations now going, you know what? Yeah, this is the limits to which we can push them. Yep, this will be the level of collateral damage. But in the end, and then the power, and at the end of the day, the power will still be with them, not with you. Not with you. And that is the fact. That is the fact of politics here in this country. They don't care. They care about themselves. So nothing is fundamentally changing. We need to blow it all up. And including the squad. Now we need to now focus our sights on them. See, and not get caught up in the emotionalism of what somebody said 6 months ago or a year ago. But like Janet Jackson said, what have you done for me lately?
Oh God, I hate that.
But that's where it is, right? See, you can't get me reminiscing and walking down memory lane about something you did before while you're shanking me in my side right now. No. Are you standing up for me now? Because you don't get paid a part-time. You're not a part-time person. You're full-time, right? You're getting a full-time salary. I need you on my side full-time. I don't need you ducking out right now. So when Ayanna says no more black faces without black voices, that we need representation, I'm saying, well, okay, you're not saying that now. You telling me to accept this and accept that and wait now. That whole fiery language before, that ain't happening now. Why? Because you're trying to consolidate something that ain't got nothing to do with me?
No, maybe because she feels like she's doing what's best for the people.
No, she's doing what's best for the party right now.
People feel like, that's
No, she's doing what's best for the party. And you know what else she's doing? Right now, she's doing what's best for her.
No, she's been the type of person who's been fighting her own party. So when she agrees with them on a simple fact of holding out for more money because it's what's needed for the people, I believe she's operating from a good space.
Yeah.
And I'm not an AOC fan. But I do like what she said and what she stands for. She is an independent person, which means that they cannot contact her contributors to change her mind.
Well, she's an independent thinker, but she's a group collector because she's collecting health benefits and a salary paid by us.
Yes, she is.
All right. Well, listen, we're at 12 o'clock. Look, Diane, I agree that we need a plan. I agree with that, right? I'm not in disagreement with it. My biggest concern is that we need action, right? And we don't need distractions. We need to see, and so when we have a plan, right? A plan actually has in it a timeline. It has benchmarks. It has milestones. It has all of those other components that you can look at and measure success or failure, right? We don't, we don't have that, but that's what we need. We need a plan, and we don't have it. And so I can't get emotionally charged around stuff that's already out there that's just going to be recycled for us to get excited about or distracted about, right? Because that's what they do. I mean, they're brilliant at it. They are so brilliant at it. Like God, like they are masterful, and then nothing happens. Nothing happens. They divide a few more people. They get us, retreating into our corners, hands up, ready to fight each other over stuff, and then they win again. But 15 more days, and we'll see. Like we'll be having discussions about why what happened, not what's gonna happen, but why it happened, right? So I'm looking for the why. I'm looking forward to the why it happened.
Oh yeah, we could call that the See What Happened show.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, it's gonna be a lot of see what had happened was, and But thank you guys. This is a spirited conversation, and Dre Sandrod apologized. His battery on his phone died.
I think that was more divine intervention.
Way to hit him while he's down, Vincent.
I know, but he'll call back tomorrow.
Yes, he will. All right, I'll throw it to you, man.
So tomorrow's Deidre Viney Day.
Yes.
So have everybody tune in. How to get a job, how to keep a job, the great locations, and she posts as always the job postings and the salaries that they are looking for. So tune in tomorrow. And one of the things that I take from today's show was the simple fact of this: we have been needing some people to represent as AOC, some black people to represent some black voices. And the biggest thing on social media right now is that a black face wants to represent some black voices, and everyone is caught up not in the message and what they're saying, but the messenger and what he used to be. We have to get out of our way to move the needle forward, because right now we're disproportionately affected by every means, economically, health-wise, emotional-wise, housing-wise, and education. If anybody who is speaking up, let's listen to the message before we dismiss the messenger. Please, people, Corona is on an uprise in New Jersey, so be extra careful. Don't go out unless you have to. When you go out, wear your mask, wash your hands, sanitize everything around you. And if it's God's will, we'll be back tomorrow to discuss the issues in our lives. On behalf of Eric Dawson, the king of cobblers, see him at the farmer's market today, folks. Get him to autograph a cobbler for you. And Diane, the queen of media, we'd like to thank our callers. Jay, I forgot the other gentleman, but charge it to my head, not my heart. And, of course, Jody. God bless. Be careful. Bye-bye.